Welcome. Welcome to Tuesdays with Suzanne. Today, our topic is one that is probably near and dear to everyone's heart in today's world. I called it Stressed Out to the Max. And I always try and choose topics that I've either heard or seen in my student groups or my friend group or my environment in general. And then, today it just came and landed right in my lap. And when Carol asked me this morning, well, what will our title be today? I said, Stressed Out to the Max. This past week, I was working with a group of people, and one of the women in our group said, what do we do if we are a mother or a father or an aunt or an uncle or a caregiver for an adult addict, for a child who's struggling with addiction issues? And in fact, in the circle of people that I know, things are happening so rapidly that it's hard to catch my breath between trauma situations. And I just kind of held her in my heart and said, wow, yeah, that is really, that's a biggie in life. And it's one that all of us have seen in one form or another in the last 2 years. People have lost parents, friends, siblings, spouses, doesn't matter. We've all had many, many losses in terms of the pandemic, or we know people who have had these losses. We've had jobs change or disappear. We've had issues come up in terms of how to really clearly know what's true and what's not true in terms of the media, in such a disorganized and crazy way that it is really been difficult and has taken a lot of time and energy to be able to discern that. Puss, do you want to sit beside me here, babe? Oh, okay. So one of the things that hit me was that the fact that we are all stressed to the max. And then, and I had to come home because as we were reading the news and I was doing the research, and the CDC is saying, okay, if you have autoimmune conditions, if you have diabetes, if you have all different kinds of things, you should get your second booster shot. And then, I thought, oh no, that's not me. Or if you're elderly, get that booster shot. Nope, that's not me. And then they said anyone over 50, and I went, oh, well, that would be me. So, we went out yesterday and got the second booster. And so this morning, I'm feeling just a little a little off. And this is actually true of the other 3 times that I've gotten the vaccine, is that my system, I can feel it inside, working with the information that has now been given to my immune system. And it's working to organize it and put it somewhere that'll be helpful for me and optimize the outcomes. And it adds stress to the system. Yes. And then, of course, we're preparing for an upcoming class. Distance Healing from the Core is coming up on Friday. And I'm trying to get all the materials ready for that and up onto the online training center. So many, many things going on this morning that when Carol said to me, what's our topic? I went, well, if I'm honest and authentic, it would have to be when you're stressed to the max. And time appears to have gotten just really squeezed into a space where there's not enough time to do what it is we need to do, how we want to do it in order to have authenticity and congruence and integrity. So I bring to you all my authenticity, congruence, and integrity this morning and say, how do we rest back? How do we find our own inner oasis? And there are 2 main wisdom areas that are extremely helpful in a time like this. And that is the heart and your bones. When you can find your way back into your heart and your bones and rest there and rejuvenate, you'll find that time and space start to expand again. And so that's where we're going to play today. So getting the soles of your feet resting on the floor, making sure that you've got just a nice, comfortable back support of some kind. Yeah. And allow your eyes to close. Allow yourself to drop inside. And invoke your curiosity, your openness to discovery as you allow yourself to take your awareness into your inner landscape. Perhaps Being curious about the temperature of the air as it travels through your nostrils, down into your lungs. Maybe you're feeling the rise and fall of your ribs as you inhale and exhale. You're noticing the sensation of the way in which your belly expands and drops. Whatever you're curious about, whatever you're noticing, whatever you're opening to, simply allow yourself to take it in as fully as you can. And honestly, often when we have a lot of stressors in our lives, when we're fighting something health-wise or whatever's going on, our focus may have gotten too narrow to be able to drop inside easily initially. So take the time now to simply slow down. And for the next 8 to 10 minutes, simply be here with me, allowing your awareness to drop in, being curious, allowing any judgment to just disappear. Anytime it shows up, just take a breath and let it disappear. Bring your curiosity back in. Noticing the sensation in your belly right now. Yeah. What's the sensation of the back of your legs resting on the chair or whatever is supporting you? How are your knees feeling this morning? Your calves and shins. The soles of your feet resting, just resting on the earth. Good. Good. Yeah. And feeling the earth beneath you. What is take your curiosity and your awareness and your attention right on down into the earth, as though you were putting down roots, light beams, or rivers of awareness, whatever kind of connection feels most at home for you. So that you're connected to this safe, rich, unconditional resource that's with us all the time. Never goes away. Yeah, good. Feeling the earth. Feeling how we're held by the gravitational field of the earth in all circumstances. Yeah. Unless you're an astronaut out in space. Yeah. And I'm noticing that just by taking my awareness down to my feet and their connection to the earth, I'm starting to feel my system slow down. The raciness I was feeling earlier about trying to get everything done, and feeling the slowness in my thinking processes because of the booster shot. So all of those things are just dropping away. And I'm starting to really tune into my bones. My bones. Yeah. I'm noticing how I can feel the bones of my feet as they're naturally and easily soaking in from the earth whatever would nourish them most. And as that flow continues on into my calves and my shins, I'm noticing the bones of my calves and shins, tibia and the fibula, yeah, on either leg. And as this easy soaking in of nourishing sensation continues, noticing my knees, noticing my knees, all the bones that come together there, cartilage, Oh, and I'm noticing that as I tune into my knees, my right knee was aching a little bit earlier. And as I take my attention and my awareness there with kindness and compassion, and I allow it to have more support through this river of nourishing sensation that's soaking in effortlessly from the earth beneath me, that my right knee has stopped hurting. Notice what it feels like in your knees right now. Good. Good. And rounding the curve, notice what it feels like in your femurs, in the longest, strongest bones in your body that are in the center of your thighs, coming right on up into your hips. Good. And then all the big, sturdy bones of your pelvis. Your two ilia, the sacrum, that big V-shaped bone at the bottom of your spine. And you'll notice as you let these bones soak up like sponges, whatever would nourish them most, that they naturally begin to radiate out into your pelvis, into your midsection. Your spine is filling naturally, soaking in whatever would nourish it most at a pace that works for you. And I'm noticing now as it reaches my ribs, my upper back, the bones of my thoracic spine, both of my scapulae, your wings back there. Letting all of those bones fill. And our bones do have air spaces, so they are like sponges. And allowing them to receive everything they need. And as your ribs fill, you'll start to notice your heart and your lungs are starting to open and fill with what would nourish them most. Particularly for the heart, that thoracic spine right behind your heart, about T5, begins to feed the heart from deep inside. The deep well of the heart is beginning to receive everything it needs. So that you can begin to not only feel steady, clear, but you may be starting to feel, if you're under a lot of stress, some compassion for yourself. As you slow down, you can go, oh, right, right. Well, that's right. Who I am deserves me loving myself. I deserve to feel steady and clear. And that becomes crystal clear as you sit in your heart. And your belly is filled, and your pelvis is filled, and your feet and legs are filled. And then allowing this to move right on down into your arms and hands and fingers. Arms and hands and fingers are extensions of your heart. All of the heart meridians travel right on down into your hands and fingers. So you can even put your hands, rest them on your heart. It's closing the circle, loving yourself. Yeah. And as this occurs, allowing all of these areas of your whole torso to begin to flow right on up into your neck, your face, your cranium, all the bones, muscles, tissues, until you've engaged your prefrontal cortex, this area right here behind your forehead. Yeah. And noticing as you do that, what thoughts arise. Clear thoughts. I'm noticing I just had the thought that all those handouts I'm working on can wait. several hours. It'll be okay. There's no terrible rush on it, even though I was pushing myself. And I'm noticing that my head's starting to feel a little clearer as all the rest of me is on board. Notice how you feel. What happens in your thinking when you're fully in your heart, as full as you can be, in your bones, in your legs, your pelvis, in your midsection, your gut, your heart, and your lungs, all the way up, feeding your integrated brain. So the information coming in is as accurate as it can be about what's happening to you and what's happening in the world around you. And you may begin to notice that other thoughts, new ideas, creativity start to arise as you sit here, fully resourced. Even if things aren't 100% in your life, you can give it the best you have to offer. Good. Good. And I invite you to stay here as long as you need to, so that you can fully fill every cell of who you are as best you can right now. And stay grounded, stay calm, and enjoy.